Hello everybody, this is Shootin' from the Hip. My name is Pete Wall. You can find me on my channel under Mordecai. Usually you will find me doing my day-to-day work on Pillar to Post. And this is my co-host.
Hello, my name is Red, and I run Heavyweight Mark. You can follow me at Heavyweight Mark.
And we will see you in just a couple of minutes. We're going to let this intro play out, and this will be our first live stream. Join us.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is Pillar to Post. And we are back. Like I said, you are joining us from Shootin' from the Hip. And I want you to let us know in the chat how we're sounding, because from here we cannot tell. Now, in the description box, I'm going to be placing all of our social media info before we get started. And you can find me on Patreon, Twitter, vidme.com. You name it, I'm on it. And all of that will be in the description below. Same with Heavyweight Mark. All of his stuff will be in the description below. I just have to place it there. And welcome to Shootin' from the Hip. How you doing, Red?
I'm doing great, sir. I kind of saddened by the news we've heard today, but we're gonna get through that, and just like everything else, you have to deal with loss.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bitch. The Annoying family suffered another loss this week, and it was Matt, formerly known as Rosie from 3 Minute Warning, as well as the tag team known as Hurricane and Rosie. You know what? I'm going to let you run with it and we'll discuss it. You got the article in front of you, or do I need to pull it up?
I'm grabbing it right now, actually. I was just sharing our live feed right now. I probably need to get working on this better for the next time we do this. But
well, this is a quick little live stream just to let everyone know about the channel and what we're going to be doing on it. And trying to add something to the description right now, and it's not working. So we'll have this all figured out for this Sunday. Now, we do go live stream every Sunday from now on at 8 p.m. We're going to get that out there right now. And we're going to talk about everything and anything WWE related. Now, I love SmackDown. I'm a big supporter of what SmackDown does, as well as NXT. The dude sitting next to me on the screen here is a Raw-loving lunatic. Now, last night Raw might have been good, but what the fuck? but he's going to let us in.
The greatest thing to ever happen. I got to tell you right now, I have never in my life had a bad Raw. Well, there was that one in 1995, right before SummerSlam, but besides that, they've all been pretty decent.
Now, I asked him what delusional state of mind he's in, that he believes this, but you know what? We're friends, we can argue, and we will discuss the bittersweet relationship that is Raw and SmackDown. But today, we're going to discuss Matt Inoi's death. Now, I do have the article in front of me, so I'm going to read this article off. I'm going to let you deal with the other articles we're going to discuss today. So, former WWE star Rosie has died. Now, Matthew Inouye died this week at the age of 47, as was confirmed on Tuesday morning by WWE.com. No cause of death has been officially released, with the Inouye family simply saying in a statement that they are mourning Matt due to an untimely death. However, this may have been related to the various heart issues that the Inouye had been suffering from over the past few years. In 2014, Inouye was hospitalized with an enlarged heart functioning at 25%. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter via WrestleView, Inouye had 62 pounds of fluids drained from his body, and he was diagnosed with congestive heart failure and an atrial fibrillation. Excuse me. In 2007, Matt participated in the reality series Fat March, a series on which overweight people walk 550 miles in an attempt to lose weight and win a prize of $1.2 million. He said at the time that he wanted to lose weight so that he could return to wrestling. However, Matt had to quit the show after 5 episodes due to a knee injury. Matt was known for performing in the WWE as Rosie, and he was one half of the tag team known as 3 Minute Warning. He later on tagged with the Hurricane as superheroes. He was released from his WWE contract in 2006, and he then spent a few years wrestling on the independent circuit before starting his own promotion, Epic Championship Wrestling. Matt was the brother of Roman Reigns and a member of the Inouye family, a family of professional wrestlers which also consists of Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Naomi, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. None of these superstars have yet reacted to the death of Matt Inouye. Stay tuned for more information about Matt Inouye's death. Now, me and you were discussing this before we went live, and you said you remember back in the day when you were in high school.
I was in 10th and 11th grade, and 3 Minute Warning was around. And being a big guy myself, watching them come out and destroy everybody just because Eric Bischoff said so, it was great. It was a real confidence builder. It made me much more happy with myself. You know how kids are. They pick on people.
Can I make you pause right there for a minute?
Sure.
Do you have the sound playing on YouTube?
No, I do not.
Oh.
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Wrestling started playing in my bedroom. I didn't realize.
Because I'm hearing that on the feed. So while you...
I am so sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, while you fix that, I'm going to talk a little bit. Now, my experience with Rosie, it was when they came in as 3 Minute Warning. 2 big dudes and Eric Bischoff's assault team. Anything went down, the wrestlers in the ring had 3 minutes to get their asses gone before 3 Minute Warning came out. And it was a great gimmick for me. I loved it. I didn't really understand why they called Matt Rosie, but, a name is a name, and it is wrestling. These guys were brutal. They were big. They moved like cruiserweights, and they were enjoyment to watch. Now, Heavyweight Mark is back, or I should call him Red. Red's back, so I'm going to let him continue on with what he was speaking of earlier, and I will finish up later on. Go for it.
when I was in 10th, 11th grade, it just made me feel better about myself. It made me feel like, just because kids are mean doesn't mean I have to feel bad about myself. And he was a hell of a wrestler, but it's really sad now that both members of 3 Minute Warning are dead. But, I've been losing weight over the last year, and it makes me want to keep, on my path right now, because you never know what can happen. I don't want to end up 50, and have some kind of failure, heart failure or something. But, there was this match, it wasn't even a match. They just came out and they destroyed X Factor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do remember it, man.
And you know how Big Albert is, or Big Bernard, whatever you want to call him. He's had so many different names. Tensai, Matt Bloom.
Yep.
Destroyed Matt Bloom. And, it was just huge, honestly. And then they repackaged him as the superhero in training. And I've always been a huge Green Lantern fan. And Gregory Helms was with him, and me and him kind of have matching tattoos, kind of. And I stayed behind him then. And I was a little pissed off, honestly, that they had shit written on his shirt. But at the same time, it's WWE, they're going to try and be funny with everything. So. Well,
see, when I missed some parts of wrestling, but when I seen Rosie end up being the superhero in training, I knew one thing was certain. His career was basically done with WWE.
Yep.
Because how long can a gimmick like that actually run before they exercise him from the roster?
Well, that's the thing. I think they were just trying to get him to the end of his contract because they had to let Jamal go. Isn't his name Jamal?
Yeah, Jamal and Rosie. Later on, Umaga. But, they had a great team to start with when Eric Bischoff brought him in as 3 Minute Warning. The problem was, once Eric Bischoff was gone, that gimmick just went away too for the 3 Minute Warning team. And these guys would have been tag team champions multiple times as partners together. But it wasn't something Vince McMahon created. It was something Eric Bischoff's mind created. So
it was so hyped. Everyone I knew was talking about 3 Minute Warning. Literally everyone, every wrestling fan I know.
Now,
I've been in wrestling since I was 10 years old, Yeah.
Now, everyone knows from my podcast, Pillar to Post, those who tune in and watch, I've got no love for Roman Reigns as a character. I've made it clear it's as a character in the way creative has treated this guy. As a person, I want to give my condolences to Roman Reigns and his family for the loss of the brother and son and nephew and whatever ties into being family, because the Annoying family isn't just the Annoying family. They have offshoots that they consider family just because. And they are that close. And I'm not an asshole. I'm going to say I feel bad for the loss for the family. And I wish everyone that they're able to cope with it. And we hope... I'm the state of mind when I see Roman Reigns on TV, I want to say, get the fuck off of my TV, because of the way he's been pushed down our throats. But I don't want to see him lose TV time either because of a death of the family, even though he should miss a couple of weeks to mourn and whatever. Losing family is hard on anyone and everyone, unless you're a cold-hearted son of a bitch. That's different. But I don't see the Inoue family like that. So my condolences to the family, and I wish them all the best.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Roman Reigns is basically, his character is Diesel 2.0, but it's really sad. I mean, I have a brother, and I couldn't imagine losing him like that.
No, like
You know?
I've got three brothers, and one of them I don't get along with at all, and I still wouldn't wish that upon him. You know, it's a love-hate relationship with especially when it comes to family, and you don't, no matter what the issues are, you don't wish them any harm. And like to this day, all the crap I've been through with one of my brothers, I'd still be right there if he needed me. You know, and I've proven that over the years, time and time again. So, like I said, my condolences out to the Inoue family, and you know, not just to Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jey Uso, they're also family. So, you know, my condolences to them as well. You know, now it sucks starting off a live stream, our first live stream, on a sad note. And I'm sorry to any viewers that do tune in, and we are talking about the saddest fucking crap that you can think of. But let's move on. I know you got some other news you want us to discuss.
Just real quick, I just want to touch base on one more thing. We were talking about the team with Shane Helms, or the Hurricane.
Yeah.
8 hours ago, Shane Helms tweeted, "Heart-wrenching phone calls are not a way to start the day. Tell your loved ones you love them. Let them know." So I guess he's on the same page we are as far as feeling, you know, of course he knew him on a personal level. So, yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah. Well, I think before we get into any articles, we should discuss kind of what this show is actually about. Now, the title of the show kind of speaks for itself. This is a show, we're going to do it live every week on Sunday at 8 p.m. And there is no takes. If we fuck up, we're going to have to recover. But one thing I detest most of all is dead air. So we're going to make sure and do our best to make sure that there is never any dead air on Shootin' from the Hip. We're going to try and make things as interesting as possible. And we're going to have friendly arguments on our point of views of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and any rumors and news that comes from the WWE Universe. Now, we might also end up talking about things unrelated to wrestling, things that we're passionate about. Like I'm a writer. I've got one book published, as well as I create merchandise for that book. And we both enjoy working on automobiles. Now, you're currently working on a bus to renovate into a home/studio, if I'm correct.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
we both plan on sharing videos of our adventures working on these projects on our channels. And actually, I actually spoke to you, Red, about starting your own video playlist of what you all do with your bus. So can we hear from you about a little bit what you're planning on doing with this bus?
Well, basically, right now I put all the seats out, and now I need to pull the ceiling and the sides out because I need to replace the insulation. Because apparently the bus that I have, everyone who's pulled it apart has found some kind of mold in the insulation because they use some kind of a wool insulation. So that's going to be my first thing. But I'm going to have bathroom, full kitchen. Going to have 4 bunk beds in case I want to take somebody with me on my trips. And the back of the bus is just going to be a studio for recording YouTube videos, basically.
Now, you told me the goal, the end goal for this bus. Now, share with the viewers what you're planning on. What is your end goal with this studio bus?
To be able to go around the country and actually go to events, like as many events as possible. That way I can actually give first-hand footage and crowd reactions that aren't on TV. Because, you know, they like to bleep out things that actually happen. They like to make the show seem the way they want it to be, you know. So last SmackDown that came on, ton of Fire JBL chants.
Oh, definitely.
They didn't make the show because they bleeped all but one of them out. They went on the entire show. So
so you want to catch from the fans' perspective the reactions that are actually going on in the stadium during these events. That way you can share them with the viewers on YouTube.
Exactly, and the rest of the world, not just YouTube. I mean, I don't know if it's Vince McMahon. It's probably Kevin Dunn with his beaver teeth. But fuck Kevin Dunn. And if you're watching this, Kevin Dunn, fuck you. Just so you know.
Well, see, we're pretty low on the totem pole when it comes to podcasts, so Kevin Dunn watching us is probably just a pipe dream. But
no,
there's
he's gonna
been
look back in 5 years, and he's gonna be like, one of their first podcasts, he called me Beaver Teeth. That's what's gonna happen. I'm in this for the long haul. This is what I want to do for a living.
Yeah.
So this isn't just a hobby for me. I really want to go around and not just experience it for myself, but I want to share my experiences with other people.
Well,
So
on my part, I do this for a couple of reasons. I do it for a hobby, but in the end, like when I started this, it was to help me speak a little bit more clearer and better with audience members, especially when I'm promoting my books. And my experience with YouTube, talking on the camera and everything, it's been a little bit of a deeper adventure for me, because not only has it helped me speak a little bit better with audience members, but it's made me feel better as a person as well, because I suffer from depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And to put myself out there like I have with Pillar to Post, it's been an experience that I've come to enjoy. So instead of doing like when I first started, it'd take me up to a full hour before I could hit that record button and actually do the show. And it was very noticeable at the very beginning. And now I come to the back after a Raw or SmackDown event, and I automatically hit the play button. I make sure I got my cup of coffee there, and I just shoot from the hip. You know, that is why I titled the show as it is, because that's who I am. I shoot from the hip, you know, and I usually don't have plans on what I'm going to discuss. I just go with what's going to happen on the show. But I've learned to schedule the shows as well as grab material, and you know, enough material that I can actually do anywhere from 30 to an hour, you know, 30 minutes to an hour podcast. So, you know, it's been a double-edged sword for me. It's helped me emotionally doing this show, as well as, you know, preparing me for when I have to go and do a book signing and stuff like that. So, you know, that's a little bit of both of us. And how about we roll on with the next article? I know you have it on hand, so shoot.
So this morning, Dave Meltzer reported on his podcast and on the Wrestling Observer Radio that WWE is in talks with Anthem. Fuck that out, by the way. That they're trying to bring the Hardys' broken characters to TV, and possibly he said he hasn't heard this strictly from any insider, but he's heard it from his friends, and his friends say they heard it from an insider, that they're in talks to buy whatever TNA has, well, not TNA, excuse me, what other Anthem owns of TNA's video library.
Okay.
To put it on. I'm not impressed with them putting Impact on the WWE network, because last I don't even know, was it come on Thursdays? Last Thursday I did a reaction video. I was going to give a review, and I lasted about 10 minutes.
Now, we both experienced this because I wanted to try giving different content besides WWE. And I found trying to watch an episode of Impact is like pulling fucking teeth. You know, it's within 10 minutes I just gave up watching because it was complete bullshit. It was not the same as when Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, you know, Bobby Roode. It wasn't the same as when those guys were in there. It has gone down big time. Like, we know they've got a guy like Alberto El Patron now, but give me a break, you know? He spends more time on Periscope trying to get WWE's attention than he is performing and giving us a good show. You know, keep your drunken ass off of Periscope, actually concentrate on your character and your profession, and maybe you'd actually draw in characters rather than push them the fuck away. My point of view.
Absolutely.
My point of view. But
My point on all that was that, you know, you talked about all those names, right?
Yep.
Everybody you just mentioned are still in TNA's entrance video, even though they haven't worked there in years.
Jeez. Yeah, they won't get no royalties for that either, you know. But they want to try and sue a guy like Matt Hardy for the rights to his name that he and his wife created. And they already have the trademark for that name, but Anthem still claims and cries, "We want a portion of your cut." Well, you know what? I've said it to many people over the years. I'll drop trow and let you suck and lick the sweat off my ball sack before you get a goddamn thing. Because Matt Hardy and his Broken Brilliance deserve to use that name whenever they please, because they are the creators and they do own the rights. So, like we said earlier, hashtag fuck that owl, you know, hashtag, you know, get blown. But now, as of WWE trying to get the library through Anthem, I can understand their point of view. They want to get like the videos, old videos from Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode. The list goes on and on of TNA superstars that are now in WWE. They want those video files so that way they can show earlier footage of these guys in their earlier career. And I can't blame them for that, but I would let them, I'd let things settle down first. Because if you watched Raw this week, you see Matt Hardy going in and out of gimmicks. He went through his Extreme phase, he went through the Mattitude stage, and he went through the Broken Matt Hardy stage. All in one show, and he wasn't even performing. He was ringside supporting Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. So I think they need to just let it build, you know, and let it out slowly. Let the Broken Brilliance out slowly, and then just unleash it upon the WWE Universe. I think that would be the best way to go.
Absolutely. And when I was listening to the podcast earlier, Meltzer actually said something about Matt Hardy has been using all three of them. In other words, right now, the Hardys are reborn.
Yep.
So they're saying that the reason he was broken to begin with is because they lost the tag team titles, if I remember correctly. And now they have the WWE tag team titles, so that healed Matt Hardy. That's going to be their angle, supposedly. So once they lose the titles, it looks like they're going to be holding the titles until they get the rights to the Broken Universe.
And then they can actually go broken. Now, there was prior rumors as well that if he couldn't in the end use the Broken gimmick, that he might just go Savage. Now, Savage, as we know, is just a play on the word broken. And if you look at the new generation that is out there right now, I know my kids, when their friends are over down, and you say something that is, you know, kind of out there and kind of shocking, they look at you and say, "Oh my God, that was so savage." And it's like, I'm looking at them as like, what the fuck does savage mean? You know, I'm 40 years old, you know, so I'm still in the, you know, you're a fucking goof stage, or you're a goon, or, you know, this or that, you know. And then I'm hearing my kids and their friends, "Oh, that's so savage." And it's like, what the fuck? You know, so what was savage about that? Explain, what does savage mean to me, you know? But I've picked it up because, you know, there's like 20 kids over at our place almost every day. Thank God that's slowed down now that school's back in. But it's you know, it took me a bit of time to get used to. And you feel really fucking old too. You know, when you got to sit there and listen to your kids and you're just like, what the fuck does that mean? But I could see him, if they can't get the full rights, if they're going to keep on having this issue with Impact, I can see them going a different way, and maybe, like he said, I might just go Savage. I think it's a good way to go. Yes, it's a play on the Broken character, but it still works, and there is no rights to them using the Savage name, you know?
Exactly, but you got to look at it this way too. The highest rated part of their last year. Matt Hardy paid for. Matt Hardy paid for to produce.
Exactly.
He paid for props. It was all done at his house. You know, and I don't know who made the giant Hardy Boys sign for them, but that was a brilliant ending.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was. Like I caught the 3 big events that they did. That was all done at the Hardy Boy compound, and I loved it. Like it was. You could see how gimmicky it was and everything, and you know, with the Rock and Roll Express trapped up on the fucking lift and everything, it was more comical than anything else. But
well,
it was.
You gotta look this way too. It's just like when the Undertaker. Nobody but Mark Calloway can play the Undertaker.
Exactly. Exactly.
And nobody but these 2 boys can play these broken characters. Yeah. Nobody else can get away with it. Absolutely
and,
nobody.
You know, me, I mark out when I see him on Raw, and he's like, wonderful, you know, or, you know, shit, you know, the shit the Broken Hardy would do, you know, Broken Matt Hardy does, and you see it come out when he talks. It's beautiful to see, because he does it just at the right moments to let the fans not forget that there is some broken brilliance still in that mind, and it's just itching to just scratch through the barrier and just unleash itself upon WWE. So it is good to see that. Anything else you want to discuss today?
Well, can I just go ahead a little bit more? I also, when I was reading that article, I clicked on another article I hadn't read before. Apparently, they've sent a cease and desist to his father-in-law, Senor Benjamin.
Really?
And he was never under contract. And
Nope.
They never paid him a dime.
Same with his child.
Yep.
The way I look at it,
Can't wrap my head around that. What do they think they're doing?
yeah. Well, see, these cease and desist orders came out when Ring of Honor was doing their 15th anniversary show, and we knew that it was going to follow them into WWE. We didn't know exactly when they were going to show up. Either it was going to be WrestleMania 33 or the Monday night following WrestleMania. They did show up at WrestleMania 33, and you could see a much reserved.
Or at least Matt was. Matt was still broken. If you
Yes,
look at it, entire time he does the broken gimmick. Except he didn't cut a promo that night. When he cut his promo was after he won the belts, and he talked half and half at that point.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know, like on Twitter, Matt Hardy stated, you know, a little bit of patience goes a long way. So, in other words, he's saying, be patient. The Broken Universe will be arriving, hopefully soon, because it reinvigorated their career as a whole. You know, these guys were, you know, when we heard the enigmatic Jeff Hardy, you know, we were kind of already getting tired of hearing that catchphrase, you know, and the name, and, you know, Matt Hardy version 1, or Mattitude, or just Matt Hardy. We were kind of already getting, you know, like I've been a longtime fan of the Hardy Boys. Don't get me wrong, but it comes to a point where it's like, okay, shouldn't these guys have been retired already? And then he switched over to that broken gimmick, and it just revitalized his whole career.
Yeah, you definitely have to reinvent yourself in the wrestling business.
Exactly.
Like Chris Jericho has reinvented himself like 8 times.
Okay, but Jericho, like I understand everyone's liking the whole, you know, putting them on the list. You know, everyone wants to be put on the list. I get that from certain fans' aspects, but really, it is the most boring thing I've ever come across as a wrestler.
Jericho has enough charisma to get over a piece of paper.
You know what, though? It's boring to me.
Because this is something you and me are going to fight about, I guess.
I've
loved Chris Jericho since he was tag team partners with Chris Benoit.
I don't see the fascination that other fans see in the list. I really don't. And to me, I've never been a huge Chris Jericho fan. Now, in the Attitude Era, he did kind of peak up a little bit. You go fuck yourself. No, but he picked himself up a little bit in the Attitude Era when he had that little feud with Stephanie McMahon. You know, he'd come out there and insult her all the time, especially when, you know,
No.
Especially when it was very noticeable that Stephanie McMahon had gotten herself breast implants. You know, one of the funniest nights ever. But as a whole, I've never been a big Chris Jericho fan. He always seemed like he was trying to be someone he wasn't. Especially in his younger days, he was trying to mimic Shawn Michaels way too much. And then when he got older, it was just, it always came off as, oh, what the hell's wrong with you, man? You know? When he ends a sentence with, "You stupid idiot," it's like, what was funny about it? Like, come on, you know? I understand he's Canadian.
Met Chris Jericho.
Like,
That's what I want to know. Have you ever met Chris Jericho?
No, I have not, and...
I've met Chris Jericho in two places. I have met Chris Jericho at a WWE event, and I have met Chris Jericho at a Fozzy concert. Same person, both places. He didn't remember me, but he sees a lot of people, so I don't feel bad for him not remembering me. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and guys like us, we've only got faces our mothers remember. Just saying, you know?
Just you not liking Jericho, you know what that means, right?
Yeah, I'm on the list, I know.
People don't like Chris Jericho, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'll get his name tattooed on my bag, and that way, you know, he's always under my sweaty ball sack. But, you know, it's just one of those guys where he doesn't gravitate towards every fan. You know, and that's with a lot of characters on wrestling. You have to be attuned to what they're into, and me personally, I'm not attuned to what Jericho does. I've heard him sing. I don't like Fozzy. Don't get me wrong, his wrestling skills are better than most people that you see, even at his age.
Wrestling?
What?
Have you at least seen his Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
No, I haven't. I haven't gone that far back. Like I said, I'm not that big of a fan of Jericho. Like, I don't have a problem with his wrestling skills. I don't. It's his character. It's his characters. You know, like, I'm Canadian too. He's from Winnipeg. I'm from Winnipeg. That is my place of birth. And if we had someone on the street look at us and call us a stupid idiot, we'd probably bitch slap them because they're talking like a fucking child. You know? You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, one of those guys, he says the things. It's like Luke Gallows when he calls his fans or opponents nerds. It's like, did we take a step back in the 80s and, you know, or early 90s when Nerds came out, the movie Revenge of the Nerds? You know, come off like ogre? Nerds, they're here. You know, come on. Really? Look at the day and age we live in. Look at where the nerds in our history stand now in society. Most of them have great, beautiful looking wives. They're rich. And, you know, they're living the life a jock wants to live. But yet the jock is the one boozing it up in the local bar, sad sack because his life didn't turn out the way he wanted to because he got into steroids or this and that, you know? And then he wants to go and shoot, you know, he wants to shoot down nerds? Come on, give me a break. I changed the way that he says that and, you know, the intellectuals of life. You know, but that's my point of view. You know, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are a great team. When they came over to WWE, they got screwed.
Absolutely. That's something we could talk about.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. I watch a lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And honestly, they're not allowed to do half the shit that they did in New Japan.
Like, I remember Luke Gallows' first run in WWE as Festus. And then he went by, yeah, and then he joined the cult, the Straight Edge Society, and became Luke Gallows, I believe it was. He went by his real name. And then he was gone. Well, he was able to recreate himself in New Japan Pro Wrestling and the indie circuit. And then he makes it big in the club, the Bullet Club, and he comes back to WWE, and he's right back to being a joke. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
The creative doesn't know how to use him, or the creative team doesn't know how to use him.
That's the problem. They don't have a proper creative team anymore. They don't have a proper booking crew anymore. They need
it's not booking. It's television writing. We need to. That's
exactly.
The difference.
See,
they don't have bookers, and it sucks.
They need to go back to those days where they had a booker, because at least wrestling made sense back then. Matches made sense.
Fuck you, Vince Russo. That's how I feel about that. I think he killed the wrestling business.
Like, you go back to the creative minds of the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, and you look at guys like Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon at the time. Vince McMahon at the time was well attuned, but then WWE had competition. Now they don't have the competition they once had. So now it's like, well, we kind of gave up. You know, there's no one to fight us, so what do we have to do? You know, they're going to stay the monster industry in the wrestling business. So until there is a company that can basically go toe-to-toe with them like WCW did, and that takes a lot of fucking money, it's going to take competition or for us to see a change in the way WWE is produced this day and age. Your phone kind of flipped, buddy. You fall on your side? I think we lost Red. I'm not hearing any audio from him, nothing. I know we had more articles to discuss. I don't have them available. I had Red grab them all, and I think I'm going to try calling them back to see if I can actually grab them. Let me see. Give me a moment here. I'm sorry for the pause, people. I said no dead fucking air, and we are getting just that. So if we can get Red back, we can move on with the show, or we might just end it a little bit early because it was just a run through to see if everything was going to work properly, introduce ourselves, and give you a little taste of what is going to happen on the show. And I think I'm going to end this call because it is going nowhere. So I'm going to leave it at that and call this the show for the day, and I'm going to leave the outro, and then we will go, well, that'll be the end of the show, I guess. We'll see you Sunday at 8 p.m. Please join us, and if you enjoyed your time with us, please hit that subscribe, hit the like button, continue to follow both of us at Heavyweight Mark, as well as Pillar to Post, and I will add our info in the description below when I can, and we will see you next week, or this Sunday, I should say. I'm out.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4